Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Healing the Feminine Wound with Sarah and Mark, live from the farm. How are you,
Hello, good
Mark?
morning. Good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Right, so let's jump right into it. So, healing the feminine wound. So, I used to wear black for 20 years. I used to um, not step into. So I was wearing my masculine shield like fully. I was fully armored with my masculine shield, and inside of that, under that, there was a feminine wound. I didn't like the attention that I got if I was wearing something pretty or with color. I felt like a clown because I got attention, and I didn't want that. I wanted to be perceived as smart, tough, fierce, and intelligent, and things that are usually more masculine
Right.
oriented. So, what would you share? What would you say? So, last week we talked about the masculine wound. What do you
Right.
see that are the core of the feminine wound? Because this can be experienced in both both in men and women, because we have a core. We are both feminine and masculine. Everyone is that.
Right. Yeah.
We have a balance. So you could be 50-50, you could be 80-20, you could be 20, 10, 90-10, or whatnot. So we all have a core balance that is our, um, it's our default, so to speak.
Right.
But then we can go out of balance. So how would you describe the feminine wound in men and women, and how is that different?
Yeah, you're right about, the feminine wound isn't just for women. Men experience the feminine wound as well. And like last week, we talked about the masculine wound. What tends to happen is we overcompensate with the other. So if we have a masculine wound, then we overcompensate with the feminine. If we have the feminine wound, we overcompensate with the masculine in order to try to achieve some sort of balance. Because our energy, our nervous system, our bodies are always searching for balance. But so if one is weak, the other has to compensate, where the real goal would be to bring balance in the middle. But for the man, this kind of feminine wound typically happens. It could come from a trauma, or it could come from motherhood things with your own mothers, or spouses, ex-spouses, and so on. But typically what happens is you start to take on a victimhood mentality. And that can happen both in the man and the woman, where you become so emotionally attached to this state of victimhood that you start to see everything around you as something that is attacking you. And so from that space of victimhood, you can kind of go pretty much in two directions. You can go deeper into that victimhood mentality and become politicized, and you have to find a channel for it. It has to go out somewhere. The other way is to become hypermasculine to counteract that. So maybe, Sarah, you experienced a bit of that counteractive hypermasculinity, wearing all black, armoring up. So it just depends on the person and how that energy wants to come out. But it can happen to both. And for me, I was already wearing all black and being hypermasculine. So what I resorted to was this victim mentality. And, I started to kind of like paint the picture of the world in front of me as everyone is out to get me. The government's out to get me, the taxes are out to get me, the world, the jobs, basically I could point a finger in every single direction except for this way, and I became really good at coming up with stories to tell myself, and and then it kind of became a very closed in world for me, because I was hypermasculine on the outside, but on the inside I was fearful and had this victim mentality, which is the perfect recipe for complete disaster in your life.
But it's interesting because I had the same thing. I mean, on the outside, I was hyper masculine, and I was in this overdrive of saving myself, like there was this deep, I mean, the nervous system is just hijacked with fear and like productivity and structure and just doing more. But on the inside, I was still, the little girl that was wounded and feeling sorry for herself and wanting. So one thing is also that like waiting for someone to come and save you is
Yeah.
like the very typical feminine wound, like waiting for someone else to come and fix your problems. Like one day the Prince Charming is going to come on his horse and just pick me up. I'm going to be the poor village girl that just gets saved by the rich
Mhm.
man on the horse, or the princess story, that's like
Yeah.
typical, like you don't need to do anything, you're just going to be saved. And that's, yeah, that. So my combination is very interesting because I was saving myself but at the same point waiting for someone to save me. So there's like a duality in it that can become
Yeah.
very, very confusing. And usually most people have both. We're out of balance with the masculine, with our core, and but we are also in out of balance with the masculine and the feminine,
Right.
because men gets into this hyper feminine state when they are experience the feminine wound also, because they get overly emotional. And
Right.
for the super masculine man to get overly emotional, then it becomes like outbursts, frustration,
Yes.
anger, acting out. And that is being in the overly emotional, because you can't hold your own emotion, because the
Yeah.
masculine is supposed to be like very grounded and safe, and be the protective and the provider, so the feminine can be in her flow and state and creativity, and create and have the visions, and move like forward, be like an innovation, and move things forward, and create this nurturing, like how do you turning a house into a home kind of feeling.
Yeah.
Um, and well, it doesn't mean, I just have to say that this doesn't mean that you have to go back to the all American church. The woman is always stay at home, looking like a, you know, not making any decision. It's not about that. It's about women having a very nurturing side, and nurturing also comes out through creativity to create something. So it's yeah, it's a very interesting balance that goes out of balance.
Yeah. I think you were right, Sarah, about the masculine, falling back into the emotions whenever this wound is present. I just remember a time in my life where I was completely ruled by my emotions, and my whole outlook on life could easily shift based on my emotions. And so the anger would come out through outbursts and through rage and tantrums, and then sadness and fear would come out through severe depression and suicidal thinking, and this black or white thinking of it's all this or all that or nothing, or the absence of long-term thinking and groundedness and stability. It was always kind of a what is going to happen today with my
Mm.
emotions,
Yeah,
what is going to happen this minute with my emotions, and then just being ruled by those emotions, and then taking everybody else in my sphere on that ride with me, forcing
yeah,
other people to be beholden to my own emotional state and instability. And so it takes a lot of repairing to restore stability to that and bring balance to the
yeah.
masculine and the feminine.
Yeah, so the way back to the feminine for me has been through, I mean, the biggest gateway is the nervous system, to create the safety in the body again, so we don't feel like we need to protect ourselves with. So the first thing I needed to do was to actively start to bring down the masculine shield,
Yeah.
and like not living in overachieving, like over productivity, not living in over controlling, um, like creating these heavy structures, and running around being busy all the time, and really reducing the stress. So that was the first thing that I did. But also, I mean, the first thing that I went to the jungle the first year after I left the Matrix or the Western world. I came to the jungle, and quite quickly I was introduced to a shaman, a local lady shaman up in the jungle, and one of the first things she told me was that you need to wear something else. You need to, I mean, you look
Yeah.
good in black, but you need to really get connected to your feminine side. So I started to wear colors. I started to to really think about how I presented myself, and not being this tough and hard shell. And but the biggest thing for me was, so those things were pretty easy to just try
Yeah.
to to scale back from. But the bigger things was to really allow myself to be in a creative mode, to live in flow and open up to receiving, and shifting my core being from I need to fix everything, I need to survive, I need to take care of myself, I need to push, 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 to fall back and allow the flow into the life and trusting that. And but that has been very difficult for me to trust that it will all work out. It's all going to be fine. I don't need to stretch myself into more stress. That's
Yeah.
not the way. I'm not going to be rewarded by that. I'm only going to
No.
be in deeper health issues. And I mean, I can't, it's not, I'm not creating from that place.
Right. Yeah. You're paralyzed by fear,
Yeah,
uh,
just
and
running.
right, and your nervous system is completely um, shattered, and then you're operating from a state of blue zone decision making.
Yeah, I mean, I made a conscious decision 7 years ago to not make decisions out of fear anymore,
Yeah.
and that was a way for me to break, to put a brake on the masculine, and a gas on the feminine. Um, Even though I felt so much fear making a decision, I decided I'm going to do it anyway because I felt
Yeah.
in my core that it was correct. And I gave up. So on a business level, like creating living with the spirit, uh, I just scrapped anything that was called a business plan, anything in the masculine structures. I just scrapped. I totally relied on myself and my own decision and my own um, intuition and my creative flow and my connection to spirit. So just making the
Yeah.
decision in the moment to moment decisions, and allowing creation to take place. And that is how everything that we have created today is made.
Yeah. And it works.
Yeah, it's like the definition of female leadership, I would say.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for me to step out of my victimhood mentality, I had to take radical personal responsibility. Everything in my life, I'm in charge of.
Yeah.
Even if external events happen to me, I'm in charge of how I react to that situation, and I have the ultimate control over how I react to that situation. So this is a newfound power inside of me, and a sense of freedom that allows me to drop the over hyper masculine shield and to be more centered and to be more grounded, knowing that no matter what life throws at me, I have the control and the stability to maintain myself, and I can choose how I react. I can choose to go into that emotion and feel that emotion in a way that's healthy, and not let that emotion be the driving force to how I behave and how I react. And so that's been kind of a journey for me as well.
Yeah, and that's how you do it. And that goes for me and for women as well, to take full accountability of whatever happens. That is a way to heal the feminine wound, like one of the ways. And that is also super super powerful to to get in touch with, because that's going to propel you forward in any aspect of your life. If you start to take full accountability for everything in your life, even the things that people have done to you, the
Yeah.
things that happen to you, because some way you have chosen to be in that position, and it doesn't matter, because the only person that can get you out of it is yourself, and
Yeah.
waiting for someone else to save you is the feminine wound. So
Right.
that attitude and that taking charge of that is going to shift your whole life. It's a
Yeah.
super super big shift. All right, 15 minutes down
Mhm.
in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Yeah, these topics we can continue to explore. There's a lot we can say about the feminine masculine wounds, and we're really just kind of brushing on the surface. And for people who are really working on themselves and exploring their own feminine and masculine wounds, we offer a safe container for people to go deeper into those. And we help people work through those things, both through our retreats, which are here at the farm in Northern Thailand, or you can work with us online through our mentorship program, which Sarah can tell you more about.
Yes, it's a 3-level mentorship program with different levels of support. All of that is not fully launched yet, but you can still read about it at livingwiththespirit.com. And yeah, if you have questions about this, about healing the feminine, healing the masculine, send them to us and we can dive deeper into these short lives. We're
Yeah,
happy to answer.
send us topic suggestions for future episodes.
Yeah, do that. We would love to do that. And if you want to talk to us about healing anything around the feminine, masculine, in and around your how you perceive the world, how you perceive your life, if you have health issues or any kind of spiritual, emotional, physical issues, that is our speciality, because we want people to live in freedom and purpose. That is your birthright. And it's all
Mhm.
available through the inner work. So if you decide to take full accountability for your life, there is a way out of every single emotion and situation in your circumstance. So, and that goes through the entanglements that we have inside. So, yeah, have a beautiful day, and I'll talk to you next time.
Great. See
Lots of
y'all
love.
there.
Bye.